Hey there, coaches. I'm Rich Prado, owner of Play In School and host of Travel Ball Talk, where I talk to travel ball coaches from the best organizations about the current and future state of travel baseball. Today's guest is Tyler Courson, owner and founder of the Next Level Academy and Triton Rays. Tyler runs a boarding baseball school down in Alabama. Now, this is a trend I've been seeing creeping up around the country in different forms. I've been down to Alabama to see Courson's operation. Next Level Academy is a very cool school for baseball players. I think this episode is going to teach us all a lot about what's going on in the world of academies, and there's different ways of doing it. So enjoy this episode of Travel Ball Talk. All right, guys, welcome back to another call. Travel Ball Talk is going down to the great state of Alabama. Today on the call, we've got Tyler Courson, the head guy, founder at Next Level Academy and Triton Rays Baseball. Now, before I get Tyler to jump in, I want to tell you this is a little bit of a topic that's of interest to me, and quite frankly, I run the show, so we get to talk about what I want to talk about. Way back in episode 2 or 3 with Richie Palmer of Elite Squad, we got talking a little bit about a topic that we're going to spend probably the entire conversation today talking about, and that's a topic of academies. There seems to be a growing trend of these, and maybe it's not so new, but it's pretty new to me. And so, just off the top of my head, some of the ones you may have heard of already would be TNXL. That's called the Ducks. That's down in Orlando, and that's run by Brian Martinez. And when I mean academies, I mean kids are basically homeschooling and training for baseball. So this is not the place you're going and just getting a 30-minute lesson. It's much more in depth, and we're going to talk about that. Another one that I've seen a lot of lately, especially online, they happen to have a kid who's probably going in the first few picks in the draft this coming June, is the Georgia Premier Sox. You've probably seen them all over Twitter. They've got a kid named Espino. He's pretty good. He's like 99 with a hammer. And again, Richie Palmer down in Miami running the Elite Squad, but he's also running ESB Academy. So Tyler comes to us today from NLA, or Next Level Academy. He also runs a travel organization called Triton Rays. We'll talk about them later. But he's an alum of the academy that everybody knows. It's sort of the big boy in this market, the grandfather of the academies, if you will, and that's the IMG Academy, obviously down in Bradenton, Florida. So, Tyler, with that little bit of an intro, welcome to the show. How are you doing, man?
Good, man. Thanks for having me.
This is if nothing else, this is gonna be really fun for me. Hopefully, somebody on the other end of this call digs it and appreciates it. So, but if nothing else, at least I'll be entertained and can get some of my questions answered. So, why don't we do what we do with most everybody, and just, if you don't mind, just give us a little bit of a background. As I mentioned, you are an alum of IMG as a player or student. Yep. So if you could maybe start there, and then work your way straight up to where we are now with NLA.
Right. Yeah, sure. Well, I started off like most guys, playing the travel ball thing, and that's kind of how I found IMG. IMG was kind of up and coming. They were recruiting, saw our travel team play. So that's kind of how I found it. Being at IMG my junior and senior year really, matured me as an individual. The baseball side, obviously, you know what they do there, the workout side, all that. But IMG prepared me, for life, for college. Going into college was, it wasn't really much of a challenge, I guess you'd say, because IMG prepared me for that. So I went to IMG for 2 years. Loved it. Some of the best time of my life. Some of my best friends now are from IMG. It drastically, changed my life. So I signed with Lipscomb University. Ended up transferring to Faulkner University, which is in Montgomery, Alabama. Finished there. And started kind of running some teams, some travel teams, just because it's what I knew. Ball is what I knew. It's what I wanted to do. And so I kind of did that, and then I realized, I didn't feel like I was making a huge impact. I was getting to the kids, and we were having fun, winning tournaments, and, it was great, but I wasn't really, molding them the way I really, was molded at IMG as far as just the whole thing, from academics to nutrition to weightlifting. So from travel ball, I kind of, told some people I was thinking about starting a school. Of course, they laughed, but I kind of realized, the niche and where things were going. So we started Next Level Academy about 7 years ago. We started with about 4 students to kind of see how it would work, how things would go. And it's really just kind of taken off. For me, the biggest thing for me was, being able to prepare these guys for everything that they're about to encounter in general, whether it's the minor leagues or college. And with the school, we've been pretty successful doing that. Our guys, don't have the easiest day. I'll go through a normal day for you. For example, 5:30 a.m., guys will get up, get into the weight room. They'll lift until about 7:15, shower, eat some breakfast, and then they go to school from 8:30 to 12:30. They do that. Lunch goes for an hour, 1:30 to 4:30. The guys do baseball, and then after that, they'll have some work stuff, some study hall, things like that. So the normal day is pretty intense, pretty long. They do go to school Monday through Thursday. Same thing with baseball. Friday's kind of our, recovery day or travel day. But that's a normal day for our guys. I'd say out of the 30-something guys we have in the school, we house about 25 guys. So, dorm life's a little different, being away from your parents. But that's kind of a rundown of how the day goes. As far as the academics was the tricky piece for us is the baseball side through the Triton Rays and through our rep, we kind of proved, we know how to train guys and make them better. The academic piece was really the question mark for parents and even a question mark for us to make sure it was going to work. So our guys are actually schooled through Sylvan Learning Center, which is a really good tutoring program. They kind of handle all the academics, transcripts, all that good stuff. But for us, proving the academics was the biggest concern. So we decided to really focus on the ACT. And as you know, the ACT and SAT is worth money, scholarship money. Mm-hmm. Anybody can manipulate a GPA. So we focused a lot on the ACT prep and things like that. And most of our guys were gaining at least 2 points. Some had gained even up to 8 points. And so once we started bringing guys in at 18s and they were leaving with 21s or 24s, the academic piece kind of, spoke for itself. We didn't really have to, prove that too much. I'd say the next biggest obstacle, man, and biggest challenge for players and parents is the housing.
Hang on before we get into that. Hang on 1 second. I want to back up. Let's take a breath and go all the way back to a comment you made regarding your time at IMG. You did say that the baseball was the baseball, and obviously, if anybody's familiar with the with being down at IMG, you're going to touch the baseball every day. You can't help but get better. But you said beyond that, it's what really helped your maturity and prepped you for going to college. What do you think was the main part of that experience that that prepared you and made that transition so much easier?
Yeah, I think there's 2 things. I think, number one is structure. Having a good structure every day. What they mapped out for us to do day in and day out really kept us focused. They charted a lot of stuff so we could see our goals we were reaching. That structure was big, just being able to manage your day, manage your time as far as academics, athletics, all of that. And the second thing is is really the environment you're in, the culture. It changes your mindset towards things. You got guys from all over the world, all over the country, that come together to achieve one goal. And that changes things for you. It changes your mindset on how you enter the weight room, how you go about practice. It gives you an idea of what other people are doing throughout the world as far as training goes. So, from a structure standpoint and everyday routine, that really prepared me. And then really them changing your mindset on your purpose each day and what you're trying to accomplish really started to just, change my life. I know we've talked about it before, like writing down goals, and we have our guys do that at school, and we did that at IMG. And people think it's silly sometimes, but, writing that stuff down and going back to it, see what you've accomplished and marking off those goals, like that was big, and IMG taught me a lot of that stuff. So I really felt it prepared me for life.
I got to imagine being a teenage kid, probably you were there, 16, 17 years old, being away from mom and dad was just a game changer. Just being in the dorms without mom coming in to wake you up and have breakfast on the table ready to go. That, to me, has got to be, you're just going to grow up. You're going to grow up.
No doubt.
You're going to grow up quick. And obviously, usually when you get to college, that happens. So at 18, 19, that happens. But to have that happen at 16 and 17 it's a lot different. It's a lot different. So just to catch everybody else up,
Sure.
I've seen this place. I've seen NLA with my own eyes. I was down there in the winter time, so I got to see it with my own eyes. So this isn't something that when I speak about it, it's not in theory. It's in reality. I've been there. Let's get back. You were about to talk about. You had talked about kind of a little bit. You cruised through the daily schedule, and if anybody wants to follow along with you guys, they can jump on at NLA. Oh shoot!
_ Rays.
And at NLA _ Rays is the Twitter page. And the reason I want to point you there is you're going to see these guys at, it's like 7 o'clock in the morning every day working out, getting sweaty in some way, whether it's a lift or whether it's a baseball specific workout. I'm usually just pouring my first cup of coffee and I see these guys. Usually it's something to the effect of wake and rake. And they're getting after it. So if you head over to their Twitter account, you can follow them there at NLA _ Rays. But you were about to kind of go in, if you could talk to us about the boarding situation. But before you do, I do want to make a distinction. IMG obviously has boarding students that make up pretty much the entire school. One of the big differences between what you're doing and what Brian Martinez down at TNXL with the Ducks or Richie Palmer down with Elite Squad is, to the best of my knowledge, they're not boarding students, right? They're in the state of Florida, which has Florida Virtual School, which is,
right,
from an academic standpoint, they're able to leverage that resource. Now,
right.
Being in Alabama, you don't have that Florida Virtual School at your disposal. And so it seems like 90% of your players are coming to live with you on site at the facility.
Yep.
Can you tell us about, you just moved recently into this new facility, which I saw. Can you tell us about that and what the setup for the boys is like?
Yeah, so, before we were, in a warehouse, a lot similar to how Brian was at TNXL. We had a warehouse, a little trailer for some school, and we had some apartments. So logistically, it was tough getting guys to and from different apartments, leases, things like that. Now we're all on one side on a campus. We have a wing that's, just for dorm, showers, laundry, all that good stuff. A place where the guys can cook, prepare their meals. Indoor cages, weight rooms, locker rooms, baseball field, everything in one spot, which just logistically makes things so much easier. It's nice for the guys to walk out of their dorm at, 9:30 at night and go into the indoor cage and hit on the hit tracks, play games with each other. So, that's the cool part about living on site. That was also probably the hardest part of really doing the boarding stuff, the school side, is really, logistics and, rules and what you can and can't do, and curfew and driving on and off campus. That was really some trial and error. Obviously me going to IMG, I kind of knew the tricks you could pull to get off campus or do certain things. And so I had a good idea of really how to set things up. But, the guys living on site, it's tough for the parents, but honestly, it's probably the thing that prepares them the most for what they're going into college baseball or even the minors. Our setup is a lot like a JUCO. And so when these guys do go to college, and they lived in the dorms, they're pretty much just going into the same thing they've been doing. It's a really easy transition, but the guys do eat on site. Most of the guys make all their own food. We will be, doing the breakfast stuff, catering the breakfast, but lunch and dinner was usually parents, how are they going to eat? But hey, I promise, when your baby boy's hungry, he's going to figure out how to cook. But the housing was big, man, just the maturity level. I get so many calls from parents after the first semester, and they come home for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and they're just like, wow, he's cooking his own food when he wakes up. He's washing his clothes. He has a routine. He's like a grown man. I'm like, well, yeah, that's what this is about, So
yeah, that's the point, right? Let's take a short break from this call to talk about my day job. You've heard me say that if you're not leveraging film to market your guys, you're doing them a disservice. So where do I come in? Well, listen, filming one guy on your phone and texting it to a coach or Twitter, that's so easy. But you don't have one guy that plays for you. You have 25 or 50 or 100 or 200. And that's hard to do. And that's honestly why you haven't done it already. Now, the reality is I've been following Courson's work for a long time. I've been following the Triton Rays, and I've been following NLA for quite a while. And Coach Courson has always done film in-house. He's a step ahead of most people in the ability to film, edit, and post. But what Tyler realized several years ago was just how hard doing this at scale is. And so that's why he teamed up with Play in School this year. He's outsourced his video for NLA over to Play in School. So if you want to see what all of the NLA guys from this year look like, go over to playinschool.com/NLA. I appreciate Tyler working with us, and I've enjoyed getting to know more about NLA, especially in this call. If you have any questions about having your team or organization filmed, please contact me today, either on Twitter @PlayInSchool or just email me, rich@PlayInSchool. Now back to the call. I got to be honest. Thinking about myself at 15 years old, that piece of it would have been an absolute non-starter for me. That would have been so difficult for the 15-year-old Rich Prado to go down there and do that. So I tell you what, right. I got to applaud the kids who can go down there, make their own lunch and dinner, can handle their own dorm room, and they're in there with a couple roommates. Can you imagine? I mean, if you're not tidying up after yourself, it's only about 3 hours of having a couple teenage boys in a space together before things get funky.
No doubt.
So it's that piece right there, that's like instant maturity. It's like when you're touching the baseball every day, you can't help but get better. When you're living in this environment, you can't help but mature. And
100.
And perhaps I'm wrong, but if you don't, you probably don't make it in this environment.
The guys will push you out real quick, man. It's just, everybody's here for a purpose. Everybody's on the same page. And when you come here, this is not for everybody, but when you come here, you're coming here to better yourself as an individual, as a ball player, just as a person. And everybody here has that same mindset. And so you figure out really quickly, the routine and how things are to be done. And the good thing is since we have done this for a while, we figured some stuff out about, room checks and cleanliness and things like that to be able to, not have as many little arguments on so-and-so took my water out of my refrigerator, things like that. So, a lot of trial and error, but it really does help the kid mature. And when they go into college, I mean, the guys call me and say, Coach, all the other freshmen are struggling, and this is a piece of cake, and that's big for us. But yeah, the housing thing, man, that's definitely been some growing pains learned as we go. But we definitely have a good grasp on it now, and the guys are really, really maturing and seem to be responding well.
I just have this vision of the first few days, they're away, they're hanging with, these other guys in the dorm room. And I remember, my freshman dorm, which is kind of what I'm thinking back to. And some of these knuckleheads would want to stay up all night talking.
Yep.
And that probably happens for the first few days. But then on the back end at 5:30 a.m. when you guys come to start your workout, then if you stay up all night talking, you get crushed in the workout. So
no.
I'm gonna imagine that it only takes a few days for them to fall into a routine of, they're looking at their watch going, oh boy, I know how much sleep I need. I better go to bed now, as opposed to staying up all night. Did you run into some problems like that in the dorm where you knew?
We really prepare the guys. Since we have had a good history with this. When the first day they come in, we prepare them like this is going to be tough. Your first 3 weeks are going to be really hard on you, mentally, physically, the whole thing. And so we prepare them mentally for that. But we also do a lot of little stuff, mental conditioning, things like that to kind of, get them over the hump. But educating them on nutrition and sleep and, the purpose of being here. Really after that first week, everybody's pretty locked into a routine and pretty determined to, achieve the goals that they came here to achieve.
I'm really pleased that you talked about how y'all focus academically on the board scores, on the ACTs and SATs. I've said for a long time, when I talk to moms and dads, I honestly don't care what the kid's GPA is because that fluctuates so much from school
100.
to school to school, right? Like,
Yep.
and you go look at the quote unquote good public school, in the nice area town, and 250 kids have a 4.0 or better. How does that happen? And when you find out the kid with the 4.3 only has 1,000 on his SATs, you're going, those don't correlate. So which one is wrong? I'm guessing it's not the SAT. So I think it's a smart thing that y'all are making that the priority.
Yeah, we actually called some colleges. We actually called Vanderbilt, Duke, a lot of prestigious schools that we also knew were good baseball schools, and we just asked them, hey, what's most important for getting guys in? GPA, school you go to, AP classes, and they said honestly, it comes down to your ACT, SAT, and once they have those scores, being an athlete, you get into a lot of schools that you might not normally get into if your scores are okay, but with these schools that we talked to, they really just kept, focusing on the ACT and SAT, and we decided, hey, that's where we're going to spend our time. And being able to prove that we could do that, and our guys started getting a lot of scholarship money, it was a no-brainer. But yeah, that's definitely been, a lot of learning as we go.
That being said, the NCAA still does have this thing called the Eligibility Center, and there are a laundry list of courses that need to be completed and passed to be eligible to play college sports. How do you guys handle that part of it?
Oh, yeah. So, obviously everybody that comes here is coming here to go play college baseball. And so, know that going into it, we make sure we're really prepared with the NCAA, junior colleges, whatever it is, to get our guys into school. So, we follow the state guidelines as far as, what the NCAA requires. We make sure we complete all that. And so when our guy leaves our program and they roll into college, whether it's JUCO, D1, D2, D3, whatever it is, they're ready, they're prepared. And getting our guys into school has been no issue. Obviously, being an athlete makes things a little easier, but, academically, the guys are definitely ready and prepared.
Awesome. Good stuff, man. This is eye opening for me. Hopefully there's one person on the other end hearing this and saying this thing's wild, and they want to do a little more research. Now let's talk about this is kind of twofold. I want to talk about the schedule, but schedule/school calendar. Okay,
Yep.
so it's the baseball part, but there's also the quote unquote academic, the school calendar. Can you walk me through, when do they arrive in the fall? Okay, so it's kind of, walk me through both. When they arrive academically in the fall, and then sort of when the baseball stuff starts and stops, all the way through when school ends in the summertime.
Right. All right, cool. So we're set up a lot like a junior college, or even almost like a public school as far as, spring break and things like that. But, our schedule, our guys come in around the middle of August, around August 18th-ish, and they finish around May 18th. So how we do it is that they come in the first couple weeks. There's a lot of testing, getting ready for the fall season, because, again, it's a lot like a JUCO. September and October, maybe even very beginning of November, we'll play some games, train a lot. That's kind of our phase where we're starting to get into the strength stuff. November, December, January, just like JUCO, our guys kind of go down a little bit. We still do baseball stuff every day, fundamental stuff, but we spend a lot more time in the weight room as far as our strength phase goes. We're really trying to get bigger, get physically stronger for the season coming up. Once we get into February through beginning of May, that's our spring season, and we'll play anywhere from 40 to 50 games. We'll have a varsity and a JV. During that time, we still lift every day, but it's more to maintain flexibility, things like that. So we get into a little bit different phase as far as the lift goes. And then, when our guys get out of school in May, that's when they go into their travel circuit, where they go play on their travel teams or our travel team or whatever group they go to. And that's kind of how our yearly schedule works. Most of our guys that are in our school play summer baseball somewhere, unless we're shutting them down, because whatever it is, all the guys are going to play summer ball, whether it's with Team Elite or us or East Cobb Astros or whoever it is. Our guys play summer, but as soon as that summer season ends, most of our guys have about 2 weeks, and then we get right into the fall semester, August 15th.
Do the local public schools start and stop at about the same time as you?
Yes, so they're
so that's August to May. Up here in Virginia, we start and end much later than that, about 3 weeks later than that. So
we have from Michigan and California and all over, and they do have a lot of the similar schedules. Some of those guys don't get out till middle of June as far as school goes.
Sure.
So, we've kind of structured ours based on, really the travel circuit. We know how important the travel circuit is as far as summer ball. And we know that June and July are vital for recruiting. And so we wanted to make sure those 2 months were available to our guys to be able to go out and be seen.
Let me ask you one more question regarding the baseball schedule. Who are y'all playing?
Right. So, in the fall, it's, a little bit of everything. But in the spring, a lot of those guys you mentioned before, a lot of those academies, we'll also play some junior colleges. We'll play some 4-year schools that have JV teams.
Incredible.
East Cobb has a few academies up there that do some stuff. So there's lots of teams, lots of games. It's just a matter of, really being able to schedule it, not have to crush yourself on the travel life. But there's lots of people out there that want to play.
What's it like for a bunch of high school kids going in to play a junior college? I mean, you're talking about there's so much growth between a high school sophomore or junior versus a college sophomore. What is that like? What do your kids act like? What do they feel? And then what's it like on the scoreboard and on the between the lines?
Yeah, so for us, our schedule is a lot like a junior college as far as the lift and all that goes. So, we're pretty prepared, a lot like them. The difference is obviously they're 4 years older, there's a little more man strength involved.
Yeah.
With us, it's, we're really competitive because we're able to recruit nationally. And so when we do go play these junior colleges, it's not like we're running out there with a normal high school team. We'll run out, 2 or 3 lefties, 85 plus, a righty or two, 90 plus. We'll have 1 through 9 that can really handle the bat. So when it comes to competing and scoreboard wise, we'll probably go 500 against some junior colleges. Sometimes they might be throwing their lower end guys and we'll get a dub, or sometimes they'll throw their best guys midweek, whatever, and we'll compete well. But for us, it's we want to win. We're competitors, whether we're playing checkers or anything else. But at the same time, we know we're preparing those guys. So if we lose 5-2 to a junior college and hurts our record a little bit, but in my mind, the guys got better. We faced good competition. We didn't waste our time that day. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of games we've gone and played and we've won 20-0, and the guys are all pumped and everybody's excited. That was great. But in my mind, we didn't really accomplish much, So, as far as playing the junior colleges, it is tough, but we are competitive. It is a lot of fun. But it's also good for our guys for recruiting purposes. When they know they're playing against those older guys, those coaches are watching, you get a little bit more out of them. So that makes it a little more intriguing to watch, I guess.
And what's travel like? I have sort of a sneaking suspicion there's some 15-passenger vans involved.
Yeah. So, it goes back to so much like a JUCO or not like a big D1. We got all the nice buses, but we got 3 15-passenger vans that we load the guys up. We go, hotels, stay overnight. We do the room checks, the breakfast in the morning. It is literally ran just like a college. You have your itinerary, the whole shebang. So, the guys know what time we leave, what they're supposed to pack, what time we eat, what time we get to the field. And because of that structure, it makes things really flow a lot easier. But it also gives our guys an idea of what they're supposed to do, how they're supposed to go about their day. But, that at first was definitely an issue. When we first started, I think we carpooled with about 10 cars to and from. But we've definitely, evolved since that.
Have you left your first player at home for being late for the bus or for the 15-passenger van?
Yeah, I'm actually that guy.
I think that's great.
It happened a lot in college, and of course, Mama was upset that little Johnny was left behind. But at the end of the day, that kid was early for everything else.
Yep.
And I don't think he'll ever be late in college.
Nope.
And he hated me that day, but that was 3 years ago, and now he's like, man, I really appreciate you doing that. So yeah, we've done that. We've had some guys not bring the correct stuff, so they had to sit in the dugout and chart or whatever it is. So, it's very structured. It is exactly how a college program is ran, and that's just because we're trying to prepare them for that.
All right, you mentioned something. I think we probably ought to talk about it right now. You do have players from all over because you do recruit. Talk to me about the recruiting process to try and find a kid. Where are you finding them? And along with that, the school's not free, I'm assuming. So you can talk about tuition and fees as much or as little as you want. And
sure.
but give us the rundown. Where are you finding the kids, and how are you getting them enrolled?
Right. So, obviously us being involved in the travel circuit with the Triton Rays, we see a lot of kids. We have a lot of kids in our travel program. So a lot of kids come from our travel program into it. But a lot of kids now are reaching out to us, just kind of seeing what we're doing online, knowing kids at our academy. So before we had to go out and recruit a lot more. Now guys are more coming to us. It's a lot like a college. We have a board up in our office, which you've seen. Mm-hmm. And we have our 2020s we're going after, 2021s, 2022s. We're not like a normal academy. I love IMG. It was great for me. I went to IMG, but anybody can go to IMG. It doesn't matter what your skill level is. Here with us, you got to have a certain type of skill level just to be able to get into school. And it's not that we don't want to help everybody. We're just at that point. We're going after more of a higher caliber guy. a guy that we know is got a really good chance of playing college baseball, if not, beyond that. But for example, we had, a few kids in this weekend. They come in on a recruiting visit. We give them a tour of the campus, show them around, kind of go over our philosophies, what we do with pitchers, what we do with hitters, how we'll prepare them for college, how we'll prepare them for the draft or things like that. And so we kind of go over the whole, scoop on what we do, why we do it. When it comes to tuition, to go to our school, if you live on site, you have your own little private room, including food, hotels, everything. It's $21,000 for the year. And that's transportation. That's the whole shebang. Obviously IMG is on that top end around $80,000. We're on the bottom end at about 20. Most boarding schools are around that $40,000 range. Our reason for doing that, number one, we're in Montgomery, Alabama. We come to Alabama, actually, so it's a little cheaper for living costs. But I know that not everybody can afford to do this. And, a lot of the high-caliber guys sometimes don't have a lot of money, and they want to be able to do something like this. So, $21,000 is our base tuition to live on site. But we do offer scholarship. I say scholarship. It's more of a called work study, meaning that, a majority of our guys here that go to our school are on work study, meaning that once they get done at the end of the day, they'll have an hour to kind of eat dinner, do their thing, and then they'll come in and they'll help with the youth teams, or they'll help work on the field, or help clean the vans, or whatever it is that day to help work off some of their feet. We don't ever want money to be a reason a kid can't come to our school and better himself as an individual. And so we try to make sure that, we help as many guys as we can. Obviously, we can't save the world, but, at the same time, the guys that come here, when we go through that selection process, we bring a guy in on some type of scholarship, we know what type of person they are. So, again, it goes back to a lot like a college, man, when it comes to recruiting and bringing guys in. A lot of parents see this as an investment for their kids' future, not just for baseball, but for academics and for life. So it's very different than the normal school setup and even private school. The boarding thing and baseball twist definitely throws a little funk into it. But yeah, it's definitely affordable when it comes to a boarding institution. Most people think boarding and they think, oh wow, that can't afford that. We make it about as affordable as you could possibly get.
Well, absolutely. I know some of the boarding schools here in my state, or if you think about some of the prestigious boarding schools, in New England, for example, are $50,000 to $60,000 a year. So to be able to combine and this really kind of hammers home my interest in this, to be able to combine your day-to-day academic schedule, where you can combine that with a baseball focus day in, day out, is pretty cool. And the reality is, I'm a former high school teacher. I've been inside the classroom. I strongly believe that the industry of education is ripe for change.
No doubt.
We've been doing it the same way for 100 plus years now, and I'm so interested in alternatives. And this particular alternative is really interesting if you are a baseball player. My assumption is that if you are a dancer, there's probably an equivalent academy somewhere.
Yep.
If you are a violinist, there's probably somewhere where you can go and focus on violin and touch the violin every single day. And, oh, by the way, and take care of your academics. And so our world is locked in on baseball, and so this happens to be a baseball specific thing. But you know what? There's probably a boarding school somewhere that focuses on fishing or wakeboarding too.
Right.
You know what I mean? And 30 years ago, the idea of homeschool, I don't think it had a really positive connotation.
Right.
And now you look down the road at what Brian and Richie Palmer do, and basically all those kids are homeschooled to some extent. With the Florida Virtual School is essentially a homeschool. So this is a fascinating world for me. So we've covered a lot, you guys. If something about the academy model interests you, I definitely encourage you to reach out to Tyler. We've got a few more questions, and we'll work towards wrapping up. Okay, so one of the things I'm curious of is, first, what year do most kids roll into the academy? Are they all coming in as freshmen, or is it you're getting them at different times?
Yeah, and that's a good question. We get a lot of that. Obviously the younger you come in, the easier it is to change your body and get you where you need to be, and really control the academic piece as far as GPA and things like that. But we on campus, living on site, we've had guys come in as young as ninth grade. Off campus, we have students as young as seventh grade. But then it goes all the way up to post-grads, and post-grads is I'm sure but for the guys out there, it's like a gap year. It's pretty common in most countries other than America. But a gap year is kind of, say you didn't quite get the offers you want, or you got hurt your senior year, or, you got a decent offer, but you're still like, man, I feel like I can do better, or whatever it is. Guys will come to us as post-grads.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, the post-grads has been really successful. We've had guys drafted as post-grads. We've had guys signed D1 as post-grads. So that's been a really good thing. But bringing the guys in at a younger age definitely makes things easier. But, it's a wide variety. In the past, we had a lot of junior seniors coming in, which talent-wise helped us. We're really competitive, but there was also a lot of turnover. And the biggest thing I got from those guys was, dang, coach, I wish I would have came sooner, And so now we are focused on a little bit younger age, but, guys kind of come in at different ages for different reasons, whether it's athletics, academics, whatever it is. The biggest thing is when you decide to come here, you're coming here for a purpose. And in order to bring those guys in, that screening process, that interview we go through is big. So no matter what the age, if you have the right mindset, you have the right mentality to want to put this work in, we bring them in at starting as young as seventh grade and goes to post-grad. And we have had one or two guys that were free agents, whatever, that'll come in and train with our guys, not do the academic side, and do that. But yeah, we focus, 7 through post-grad is kind of the range that we stay in.
And, okay, so probably my last question on this topic, and then I do want to switch gears for 1 second at the end. How do you measure success in this model?
For me, some people measure it in, you got so-and-so drafted or so-and-so signed D1. Success for me comes when I see those guys fitting to whatever school it is, and they finish going through school and they're done, and they call me when they're starting their careers in life, and they're thanking me for what we did for making them a man. That's success for me. People see it here like, you've had, a guy drafted every year since so-or-so, and, you've had guys come in with no offers and go D1, that's success in some people's mind. But changing these guys as an individual, as a person, is what success is for me. And it's the same thing for our staff. By all means, for the prices we charge, we're definitely not making a lot of money, but we're impacting so many people. And our staff guys here get a lot of self-satisfaction of seeing these guys move on. And so in my opinion, success is impacting those guys in a good way to where they become better individuals in society. Baseball is the bond that brings here and kind of keeps them focused on their goals. But when they leave here, I want them to leave knowing that, hey, I made that dude a better person. He's going to be a good dad. He's ready to go into the workforce. That's success in our minds.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
That's awesome.
But yeah, and I appreciate your time. I know I'm cutting you short here. Our guys are about to meet to go over a meeting, and then we're deciding if we're about to head up to East Cobb and play, or we're going to inter-squad here because rain's in the forecast.
You got rain? Oh, boy.
Yeah, we got something coming through Atlanta and through Montgomery, so we're trying to figure out what we're going to do.
Well, I can let you go, or if you have you got to run right this second?
I got 4 minutes.
4 minutes, okay. Let me ask you, if somebody's hearing this, and if you could talk about maybe one of the things that has been a struggle for you to run this academy, and then what piece of advice would you give somebody who maybe is hearing this for the first time, or if they've already been thinking about it? What is something you can tell them to maybe give them a shortcut to success?
I'd say step one is make sure you have the academic side completely controlled and completely covered. You know, the baseball side, if you're in this business, you know you can handle the baseball. You got the coaches, you got the staff.
Mm-hmm.
The academic piece is vital. And, you know, that determines the kid's future. If you mess up a transcript or you don't, you know, they're not taking the right classes, whatever it is, it's irrelevant what they did baseball-wise.
That's right.
So, you know, in my opinion, the academics is the most important thing that you have to get under control and lock in, you know, right away. And if they do that, you know, most of these guys know the baseball side and how to recruit and all that.
Yeah.
It's that academic piece that
Huge.
makes things challenging.
All right, I'm going to let you go. Tyler Courson, the website is nlbal.com. I'm going to put that in the show notes, and the Twitter account is @NLA_Rays. I was going to ask you a little bit about the Triton Rays for you guys who are listening. That's the travel ball wing of this particular business, not to be confused with the academy. Triton Rays, also run by Tyler and his staff. This has been really fun. Very informative, Tyler. I appreciate your time. Good luck this afternoon. If you hopefully the rain holds off for you.
No doubt. All right, man. I appreciate you guys having me. I'll talk to you soon, Rich.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right, see you guys.
See you. I'm having so much fun bringing these shows to you each week. If you'd like to recommend a coach for the show, please don't hesitate to shoot me a note at rich@playinschool.com or DM me on Twitter @PlayInSchool. Again, my name is Rich Prado. I'm the founder of Play in School. My goal is to continue to create products and services that add value to you, the travel ball coaches, your players, and their parents. Visit playinschool.com to see some of the ways we're doing that. Or better yet, let's set up a call. Until next time, thank you for listening to Travel Ball Talk.